The emergency transmission crackled through subspace with desperate urgency. Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the command center of Earth's Central Defense Station, watching the alien message play for the third time. The being on screen was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin had a blue-gray tint, and its large, dark eyes held pain that needed no translation. "Please," the alien ambassador spoke through the universal translator, his voice breaking with emotion. "The plague spreads faster than we can contain it. Our children are dying. Our elderly suffer beyond measure. We have tried everything our science knows, but nothing stops this disease. We beg the Galactic Council for medical assistance." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's chief medical officer, stepped forward. She had been studying the biological data the aliens had transmitted. The Kepler colony, a peaceful civilization of farmers and artists, faced extinction from a virus that attacked their nervous system. Their technology was advanced in many ways, but their medical knowledge lagged behind other species. "Admiral," Dr. Rodriguez said quietly, "this pathogen is similar to viruses we defeated on Earth centuries ago. Our immune systems and medical treatments could save them." Admiral Chen nodded slowly. 3 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. Most alien species viewed humans with suspicion or fear. Stories of human warfare, human aggression, and human unpredictability spread through the galaxy faster than any disease. The Council barely tolerated Earth's membership, voting humans as the most dangerous new species in recorded galactic history. But this was different. This was about saving lives, not taking them. "Doctor, how quickly can we prepare a medical mission?" the Admiral asked. "Give me 48 hours to assemble a team and supplies. We'll need our best doctors, researchers, and enough medical equipment to treat millions. The hospital ship Mercy's Dawn can be ready in 72 hours. The Admiral turned to her tactical officer. "Commander Williams, what's the safest route to the Kepler system?" Commander Williams pulled up the star charts. "Ma'am, there's a problem. They've been hostile to human ships since the Proxima incident 6 months ago." The Proxima incident. Admiral Chun remembered it well. A human cargo vessel had defended a Zephyrian civilian transport from pirates, destroying 3 raider ships in the process. Instead of gratitude, the Zephyrian military accused humans of excessive force and banned human ships from their space. They claimed humans were too violent, too quick to resort to weapons, too dangerous to allow free passage. "What about alternative routes?" Chen asked. 2 weeks longer, minimum. And that's if the Hellion Confederation grants us passage permits. Williams shook his head. By then, according to the Kepler medical reports, their death toll will reach catastrophic levels. Dr. Rodriguez stepped closer to the star chart. "Admiral, every day we delay means thousands more deaths. The disease progression data shows children under 10 have only a 60% survival rate beyond the first week of symptoms. We have to take the direct route." Admiral Chen studied the map for long minutes. The Zephyrian Empire controlled the key jump points through their military stations. Their warships were known for aggressive patrol patterns and hair-trigger responses to any vessels they deemed threatening. Sending an unarmed medical ship through their territory would be like sending a lamb into a den of wolves. But sending a heavily armed escort would confirm every negative stereotype about human aggression. "Admiral," came a voice from behind. Captain Marcus Torres, commander of the battleship Indomitable, had entered the command center. "I've been monitoring the situation. Request permission to escort the medical mission." Torres commanded the most advanced warship in Earth's fleet. The Indomitable carried enough firepower to level a moon and armor that could withstand direct hits from most alien weapons. It also carried a reputation. The ship had never lost a battle, never retreated from a fight, and never backed down from protecting human interests. "Captain," Admiral Chun said carefully, "your ship's presence might escalate tensions with the Zephyrians." "Respectfully, Admiral, my ship's presence might also ensure the medical team reaches the Kepler colony alive. The Zephyrians respect strength, even if they fear it. They won't attack a medical mission if they know we're serious about protecting it." Dr. Rodriguez looked between the two officers. What about traveling separately? The medical ship takes a peaceful approach, broadcasts our humanitarian mission continuously. The warship follows at a distance, ready to respond if needed, but not obviously threatening. Commander Williams pulled up tactical projections. The Zephyrians maintain sensor stations at each jump point. They'll detect both ships regardless of separation distance. If they see a human warship anywhere in their territory, they might consider it an invasion force. The debate continued for an hour. Every option carried risks. Taking the long route meant accepting massive casualties on the Kepler colony. Taking the direct route meant potential armed conflict with the Zephyrian Empire. Either choice could have consequences that reached far beyond this single mission. Finally, Admiral Chun made her decision. We take the direct route. Dr. Rodriguez, prepare your medical mission with priority on speed and efficiency. Captain Torres, the Indomitable, will escort the Mercy's Dawn through Zephyrian space. But here are my rules. We broadcast our humanitarian mission continuously. We maintain peaceful postures at all times. We do not fire first under any circumstances. If the Zephyrians want to board and inspect the medical ship, we allow it. We prove that humans can be trusted with good intentions. Captain Torres nodded, though his expression showed some reservation. Understood, Admiral. What they fire first. Then, you protect the medical mission at all costs. The lives on Kepler colony depend on that ship reaching them safely. The next 72 hours passed in intense preparation. Dr. Rodriguez assembled a team of 57 medical professionals, doctors, nurses, researchers, and medical technicians. Each volunteer knew they were risking their lives for strangers who might never appreciate the sacrifice. The medical supplies filled 3 cargo holds: antiviral medications, immune system boosters, diagnostic equipment, mobile surgical units, and experimental treatments that had never been tested on Kepler physiology. Earth's medical industry worked around the clock to manufacture doses for an entire planetary population. Dr. James Harrison, the mission's senior virologist, ran final tests on the treatment protocols. Early simulations suggested human antiviral compounds would work on Kepler biology, but simulation wasn't certainty. They were carrying medicines that might save millions of lives, or might prove completely ineffective against an alien virus. Doctor called Nurse Patricia Kim, reviewing supply inventories. We have enough basic antivirals for 2 million patients. The advanced treatments can handle maybe 500,000 severe cases. What if that's not enough? Dr. Rodriguez checked the latest population data from Kepler colony. 8 million inhabitants total. Current infection rate suggests we'll see 4 million cases within the next month. We'll have to prioritize the worst cases and hope the basic treatments prevent mild cases from becoming severe. The weight of those numbers settled over the medical team. They were carrying hope for an entire civilization, but hope that might not be enough. Meanwhile, Captain Torres prepared his crew for the most delicate mission of their careers. The Indomitable specialized in decisive military action, overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. This mission required restraint, diplomacy, and the ability to appear non-threatening while remaining ready for instant combat. Listen carefully, Torres addressed his senior officers in the briefing room. We're not going to conquer anyone. We're not going to intimidate anyone. We're going to escort a medical ship through hostile territory and prove that humans can be trusted. Every decision you make reflects on our entire species. Commander Lisa Park, the ship's tactical officer, raised a concern. Sir, our weapon systems are inherently threatening. The Zephyrians know what the Indomitable can do. How do we appear non-threatening while carrying enough firepower to destroy their patrol fleets? By demonstrating perfect discipline, Torres replied. Weapons powered down to minimum levels. Shields at standard navigation strength only. No aggressive maneuvers. No tactical positioning that could be interpreted as attack preparation. We act like a civilian escort vessel, not a warship. Chief Engineer Robert Mason spoke up. Captain, if they do attack, how quickly can we bring weapons and shields to full power? 15 seconds for full combat readiness. Hopefully that's fast enough. Torres looked around the table. Anyone who can't follow orders to maintain peaceful posture should request reassignment now. This mission requires absolute discipline. No one moved. The two ships launched on schedule, beginning their journey to the first Zephyrian checkpoint. The Mercy's Dawn broadcast humanitarian messages continuously. Medical supplies for plague victims, no military cargo, requesting peaceful passage for humanitarian purposes. The message repeated in 17 languages, including formal diplomatic Zephyrian. Captain Torres kept the Indomitable exactly 2,000 kilometers behind the medical ship, close enough to respond to threats, far enough away to avoid appearing escort-heavy. His crew maintained perfect discipline, knowing that galactic peace might depend on their restraint. Dr. Rodriguez used the travel time to coordinate with Kepler medical authorities. The alien doctors described symptoms that confirmed human treatment should work, but they also revealed how quickly the plague was spreading. Initial estimates were too conservative. The disease was mutating faster than expected, becoming more contagious with each generation. Admiral, Dr. Rodriguez reported during a subspace communication with Earth, "We might be looking at complete planetary infection within 6 weeks. The mutation rate suggests this virus adapts to overcome natural immune responses. If we can't stop it on Kepler colony, it could spread to neighboring systems." The implications chilled everyone who heard them. A plague that could overcome any natural immune system and adapt to medical treatments could threaten the entire galaxy. This wasn't just a humanitarian mission anymore. It was potentially a mission to prevent galactic catastrophe. Admiral Chin's response was immediate. "Doctor, you have unlimited authority to requisition any resources from Earth. If you need additional medical ships, additional personnel, experimental treatments still in development, whatever you need." "Thank you, Admiral. But first, we have to actually reach Kepler colony." 3 days into their journey, they approached the first Zephyrian checkpoint. The checkpoint consisted of a massive space station positioned at the jump point between systems. Zephyrian patrol ships moved in coordinated formations around the station, their weapons powered and shields raised. Long-range sensors detected the approaching human vessels while they were still hours away from the checkpoint. Commander Williams, monitoring communications from Earth, reported increasing tension. "Admiral, we're receiving protests from Zephyrian diplomatic channels. They're demanding explanation for human warship presence in their territory. The Galactic Council is requesting immediate clarification of our mission parameters." Admiral Chin opened a channel to Captain Torres. "Captain, are you receiving the Zephyrian challenges?" "Yes, ma'am. They're demanding we reverse course immediately or face defensive action." Standard patrol response. "They're not specifically hostile yet, just following protocol. Maintain peaceful posture. Continue broadcasting medical mission status. Let them make the first move." The hours passed slowly as both human ships approached the checkpoint. Zephyrian patrol vessels began converging on their position, creating a formation that could quickly surround the human ships if ordered. The tension built with every passing minute. Finally, the checkpoint commander opened a communication channel. "Human vessels, this is Station Commander Vexhai of the Zephyrian Border Defense Force. You are entering restricted military space. State your intentions and prepare for inspection." Dr. Rodriguez took the communication. "Station Commander, this is Dr. Elena Rodriguez aboard the medical vessel Mercy's Dawn. We are carrying medical supplies for plague victims on Kepler colony. We request peaceful passage for humanitarian purposes. Our escort vessel carries no offensive military cargo and poses no threat to Zephyrian security." Dr. Rodriguez came to reply after a long pause. "You travel with a human warship Indomitable. This vessel has a recorded history of aggressive action. Why do you require military escort for a medical mission?" The question struck at the heart of galactic perceptions about humanity. Captain Torres wanted to respond, to explain that escorts were standard procedure for valuable cargo ships, that the Indomitable was there for protection, not aggression. But Dr. Rodriguez had taken the communication lead. "Station Commander, the medical supplies we carry are irreplaceable. We represent the only hope for saving millions of lives on Kepler colony. Our escort ensures these supplies reach their destination safely. We pose no threat to any Zephyrian interests. Another long pause. The Zephyrian commander was clearly consulting with higher authorities. In that silence, both human crews waited to learn if their mission would continue peacefully or end in battle. The answer would determine not just the fate of Kepler Colony, but humanity's future relationship with the galactic community. Station Commander Vexhi's response came after 20 agonizing minutes of silence. During that time, additional Zephyrian patrol ships had positioned themselves around the human vessels, creating a formation that could become hostile at a moment's notice. Human medical vessel Mercy's Dawn and escort Indomitable, you will submit to full inspection of cargo and crew manifest. Any attempt to resist or deceive will result in immediate detention. You will power down all weapons systems and prepare for boarding. Captain Torres felt his jaw tighten. Standard procedure called for maintaining minimal defensive capabilities even during friendly inspections. Completely powering down weapons would leave his ship helpless if this was a trap. But starting a firefight would doom the medical mission and potentially spark a war between Earth and the Zephyrian Empire. Dr. Rodriguez responded before Torres could speak. Station Commander, we accept your inspection requirements. We will comply fully with all protocols. The lives on Kepler Colony depend on our peaceful cooperation. Torres opened a private channel to his bridge crew. Power down weapons to standby mode. Maintain engine readiness. If this goes wrong, we'll have about 10 seconds to decide between running or fighting. The Zephyrian inspection teams arrived in heavily armed shuttles designed for boarding potentially hostile vessels. The first team consisted of 6 soldiers in full combat armor, carrying weapons that could punch through standard ship hulls. They moved with the precision of troops expecting trouble. Dr. Rodriguez met them at the airlock personally, accompanied only by Chief Nurse Kim and Dr. Harrison. She had ordered her entire medical team to remain calm and cooperative, no matter how invasive the inspection became. I am Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Mission Commander, she said as the Zephyrian troops entered. These are my senior medical staff. We welcome your inspection and will provide any information you require. The lead Zephyrian, identified as Inspection Captain Moron, removed his helmet. His features showed the same blue-gray skin tone as the Kepler Colony ambassador, but his expression held none of that being's desperation. Instead, Moron looked at the humans with suspicion bordering on hostility. Dr. Rodriguez, explain why your medical mission requires escort by humanity's most powerful warship. Dr. Rodriguez had prepared for this question during the long wait. Captain Moron, the Mercy's Dawn carries medical supplies worth more than some planets' entire economies. These supplies represent the only known treatment for the Kepler Plague. Without escort, we would be defenseless against pirates, raiders, or anyone who might steal these medicines for profit. We chose the Indomitable because its reputation ensures safe passage. The Indomitable's reputation, Moron said slowly, includes the destruction of 3 ships near Proxima Station. Your species uses excessive force as standard procedure. Dr. Harrison stepped forward carefully. Captain, those 3 ships were attacking a civilian transport. The Indomitable saved over 200 innocent lives that day. Would your own forces have done differently? The question hung in the air while Moron considered it. Zephyrian military doctrine emphasized measure response and minimal force, but they also prioritized protecting civilian lives above almost everything else. The Proxima incident represented a clash between human directness and Zephyrian restraint that had no easy answers. Begin the inspection, Moron ordered his troops. Full scan of all cargo holds. Verify medical supply authenticity. Check for hidden weapons or military equipment. The inspection took 4 hours. Zephyrian troops scanned every medical container, tested sample medications, and verified that the ship's cargo manifests matched the actual supplies. Dr. Rodriguez provided detailed explanations of each treatment protocol, how the medicines worked, and why Earth believed they would be effective against the Kepler Plague. Captain Moron studied the medical data with growing interest. His own scientific background. Most Zephyrian military officers required advanced education in multiple fields, allowed him to understand the complexity of Earth's medical response. The humans weren't just bringing basic supplies. They were bringing cutting-edge treatments that represented centuries of medical advancement. Dr. Rodriguez, he said finally, these antiviral compounds are more advanced than anything in Galactic Council databases. How did Earth develop such sophisticated treatments? Captain, humanity has fought plagues throughout our history. We've faced viral outbreaks, bacterial infections, and diseases that killed millions before we learned to stop them. Our medical knowledge comes from necessity and survival. The answer revealed more than Dr. Rodriguez intended. She was describing a species that had survived multiple near extinctions, had been forced to develop medical technology to prevent their own annihilation. To more on, it explained both human medical advancement and human military capability. They were survivors who had learned to fight death in all its forms. Meanwhile, the inspection of the Indomitable proceeded differently. The Zephyrian team boarding the warship expected to find hidden weapons, military equipment disguised as defensive systems, or evidence of aggressive intentions. Instead, they found a crew maintaining perfect discipline and a ship configured exactly as described. Weapons at minimum power, shields at standard navigation levels, no tactical preparations for combat. Commander Park led the inspection team through the ship personally, answering every question with complete honesty. When they asked about weapon capabilities, she provided exact specifications. When they asked about defensive systems, she demonstrated how everything was powered down to non-threatening levels. Commander, asked the Zephyrian inspection leader, your tactical systems are capable of engaging multiple enemy vessels simultaneously. Why do you maintain such overwhelming firepower for a medical escort mission? Because, Commander Park replied calmly, our primary mission is ensuring those medical supplies reach Kepler Colony safely. The Indomitable is equipped to handle any threat that might prevent us from completing that mission. But, as you can see, we're operating in completely peaceful mode. We're prepared for war, but hoping for peace. The inspection leader, a veteran of many encounters with aggressive species, found himself impressed despite his expectations. The human crew demonstrated remarkable discipline. They had the power to destroy his inspection team and probably fight their way through the checkpoint, but they submitted to inspection with complete cooperation. After 6 hours total, both inspection teams reported their findings to Station Commander Vexhai. The reports confirmed that the human ships carried exactly what they claimed, medical supplies for plague victims, and a warship escort operating in defensive posture only. But the reports also contained observations that troubled the station commander. The humans showed a level of medical advancement that suggested their species had survived multiple planetary catastrophes. Their warship demonstrated technological capabilities that matched or exceeded anything in Zephyrian military arsenals. Most concerning, the human crew showed perfect discipline and genuine commitment to their humanitarian mission. These weren't the aggressive, unpredictable humans that galactic intelligence reports described. These were highly advanced beings who had developed sophisticated medicine and powerful military technology, but who were using both to save lives rather than take them. Station Commander Vexhai opened a secure channel to Zephyrian High Command. This is Border Station Epsilon 7. I need immediate guidance on human medical mission. Initial assessment suggests significant revision of human threat evaluation may be necessary. The response came within an hour. High Command had been monitoring the situation and consulting with the Galactic Council. The official response authorized continued inspection and interrogation, but with new objectives, learn everything possible about human medical capabilities and assess whether humans might actually be valuable allies rather than dangerous threats. Dr. Rodriguez, Station Commander Vexhai, said when inspections were complete, you will be granted passage to continue your medical mission. However, I am assigning a Zephyrian observation team to accompany your vessels. They will monitor your activities and report on the effectiveness of your medical intervention. Dr. Rodriguez felt relief wash over her, but the condition presented new complications. Station Commander, we accept your observers. However, I must stress that time is critical. The Kepler plague is spreading faster than our original projections indicated. Every hour of delay costs additional lives. Understood. The observation team will not interfere with your medical mission. They are scientists and medical personnel who can assist with data collection and verify results for the Galactic Council. Captain Torres received the news with mixed feelings. Zephyrian observers meant constant scrutiny of human actions, but they also meant protection from other threats. Zephyrian ships accompanying the mission would provide safe passage through remaining checkpoints and might prevent interference from hostile species. The observation team consisted of 4 Zephyrians, 2 medical researchers, 1 military analyst, and 1 diplomatic observer. They boarded the Mercy's Dawn with their own equipment for monitoring and analyzing the human medical intervention. Their leader, Research Director Dalash, was a respected xenobiologist who had studied disease transmission across multiple species. Dr. Rodriguez, Research Director Dalash said during their introduction, I have reviewed your treatment protocols. The theoretical basis appears sound, but application to Kepler physiology remains uncertain. Are you prepared for the possibility that human medicines might prove ineffective or even harmful? The question struck at Dr. Rodriguez's deepest fears. Despite extensive simulation and biological analysis, they were essentially experimenting on an entire alien species. The medicines that saved humans might poison Kepler colony inhabitants, or might prove completely ineffective against an alien virus. Research Director, we've run every test possible without actual Kepler patients. Our best science indicates these treatments will work, but you're correct that we're entering uncharted territory. If our medicines prove ineffective, we'll work with Kepler doctors to develop alternatives. If they prove harmful, we'll immediately cease treatment and search for solutions. And if millions die while you experiment? The brutal directness of the question forced Dr. Rodriguez to confront the weight of her responsibility. Then millions die, but if we do nothing, millions die anyway. The Kepler plague has no known cure in galactic medicine. Human treatments represent the only hope for survival. Research Director Dalash studied the human doctor's expression, searching for doubt or uncertainty that might suggest the humans were unprepared for the moral complexity of their mission. Instead, he saw a being who had fully accepted the burden of making impossible decisions with incomplete information. The journey to the next checkpoint proceeded smoothly. Zephyrian escort vessels provided safe passage, while the observation team conducted detailed interviews with human medical personnel. They wanted to understand not just what treatments Earth was bringing, but how humanity had developed such advanced medicine. Dr. Harrison spent hours explaining human medical history to the Zephyrian researchers. He described the Black Death that killed millions in medieval Europe, the influenza pandemic of 1918, the HIV/AIDS crisis, and dozens of smaller outbreaks that had shaped human medical development. Each catastrophe had forced humanity to advance their understanding of disease, develop new treatments, and create better prevention methods. Your species, observed one Zephyrian researcher, appears to have faced more medical challenges than most civilizations encounter in their entire existence. Probably true, Dr. Harrison replied. Earth's biological diversity created ideal conditions for disease evolution. We had to become good at medicine, or we would have gone extinct long before developing space travel. The conversation revealed something important to the Zephyrian observers. Humanity's medical advancement wasn't the result of academic curiosity or gradual research progress. It was the product of species-level survival pressure. Humans had developed sophisticated medicine because failure to do so meant extinction. This explained not just human medical capabilities, but human military technology and social organization. They were a species shaped by survival challenges that would have destroyed most civilizations. Their apparent aggression might actually be determination. Their technological advancement might represent adaptation to hostile environments. The second checkpoint passed without incident. Zephyrian authorization codes provided immediate clearance, and the human vessels continued toward Kepler system with their escort and observation team. But news from Kepler colony grew increasingly desperate. The plague was mutating faster than anyone had predicted. Initial projections suggested 6 weeks for complete planetary infection. New reports indicated complete infection might occur within 3 weeks. The virus was adapting to overcome Kepler immune systems and spreading through previously unknown transmission vectors. Dr. Rodriguez assembled her medical team for an emergency briefing. The situation is deteriorating rapidly. We need to be prepared for immediate deployment upon arrival. Forget gradual testing and careful introduction of treatments. We're going to have to begin mass treatment immediately if we want to save anyone. Chief Nurse Kim raised the obvious concern. Doctor, if our treatments prove incompatible with Kepler physiology, mass deployment could cause mass casualties. And if we delay treatment to ensure compatibility, mass casualties from the plague are certain. We have to choose between definite disaster and possible disaster. I choose possible. Research Director Dalesh listened to the human medical discussions with growing respect. These beings were making impossible decisions with limited information, accepting responsibility for outcomes they couldn't predict, and maintaining focus on saving lives despite enormous personal and professional risks. Dr. Rodriguez, he said during a brief pause in the planning, Zephyrian medical protocols would require extensive testing before any treatment of alien populations. Are all human medical missions conducted with such urgency? Research Director, Zephyrian medical protocols are designed for stable situations with time for proper testing. This situation allows no time for safety. We can follow proper protocols and watch millions die, or we can take calculated risks and possibly save them. Which choice serves the greater good? The question challenged fundamental Zephyrian approaches to medicine and military action. Their culture emphasized careful analysis, measured response, and minimizing risks. Human culture, at least as demonstrated by this medical team, emphasized decisive action, acceptable risks, and maximizing positive outcomes. Both approaches had value. Zephyrian methods prevented mistakes and unintended consequences. Human methods achieve results quickly and decisively. But in this situation, Zephyrian caution might mean extinction for Kepler colony, while human urgency might be the only path to survival. As they approached the final jump point before Kepler's system, long-range sensors detected troubling signs. Multiple ships were departing Kepler space at maximum speed. Refugee vessels, evacuation ships, and anyone with transportation were fleeing the plague zone. The evacuation suggested that local authorities had given up hope of containing the disease. The Kepler colony government was prioritizing saving who they could rather than fighting to save everyone. It was the decision of a civilization that had accepted its own extinction. Captain Torres, Dr. Rodriguez called over the ship's communication system. Can you estimate how many people are evacuating? Based on ship counts and vessel capacities, maybe 500,000 people. That's out of 8 million total population. The numbers were devastating. 7.5 million people remained on Kepler colony, facing a plague with no known cure except the experimental treatments carried by the human medical mission. If Earth's medicines failed, those 7.5 million people would die within weeks. Research Director Dalesh watched Dr. Rodriguez receive those numbers. He saw her shoulders tighten, her expression harden, and her resolve strengthen. She wasn't backing down from the challenge. She was accepting even greater responsibility. Research Director, she said quietly, I hope your people understand what you're about to witness. We're either going to save a civilization, or we're going to fail catastrophically while trying. Either way, this is how humans respond to impossible situations. The final jump toward Kepler's system began, carrying medicines that might save millions, observers who would report human capabilities to the galaxy, and the weight of expectations that could reshape humanity's relationship with the galactic community. The Kepler system greeted them with chaos. Ships fled in every direction while emergency broadcasts filled all communication frequencies. The planetary government was broadcasting evacuation orders, medical facilities were reporting complete overload, and local defense forces were struggling to maintain basic order as panic spread faster than the plague itself. Dr. Rodriguez stood in the medical ship's command center, watching the tactical display show dozens of evacuation vessels streaming away from the planet. Each ship represented thousands of people who had given up hope for a cure. Each ship also represented thousands more who remained behind, either unable to evacuate or determined to fight the plague. Doctor, called Chief Nurse Kim from the communication station, we're receiving priority messages from Kepler medical authorities. They're requesting immediate conference with our medical team. The main screen activated, showing Dr. Vethare, Chief Medical Officer of Kepler Colony. The alien doctor's appearance shocked the human medical team. Dr. Vethare showed obvious signs of the plague, tremors in her hands, discoloration around her eyes, and the exhausted expression of someone working beyond physical limits while fighting a losing battle. Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Vethare said, her voice weak but determined, "Thank you for coming. I must tell you immediately, the situation is worse than our previous reports indicated. The plague has mutated 3 times since we sent our request for assistance. Current infection rate suggests complete planetary saturation within 12 days. Dr. Harrison leaned forward, studying the alien doctor's symptoms. Dr. Vethare, are you currently infected with the plague? Yes. Most of our medical personnel are infected, but continuing to work. We estimate 70% of the planetary population is currently showing symptoms. The evacuation ships are taking only the uninfected and those in early stages who might survive the journey to other systems. The revelation stunned the human medical team. They had come to treat plague victims, but the local medical authorities were themselves dying from the disease they were fighting. The doctors they needed to coordinate with might not survive long enough to implement any treatment protocol. Research Director Dalesh observed the human reactions carefully. He expected them to show fear or hesitation when faced with a plague that had infected the local medical experts. Instead, the humans showed increased determination. Dr. Rodriguez began issuing orders with greater urgency, while her team prepared for immediate deployment. Dr. Vethare, Dr. Rodriguez said, we're going to begin treatment immediately. First priority is treating your medical personnel so they can assist with mass treatment implementation. Second priority is containing the plague spread. Third priority is treating the general population. Are your medical facilities still functional? Primary medical centers in the capital city remain operational, but they're overwhelmed beyond capacity. We have patients in every available space, and we've lost power to 3 major hospitals due to infrastructure failures. Our medical staff is making decisions about who receives care based on likelihood of survival. Triage on a planetary scale. The human medical team had trained for disaster response, but nothing in their experience compared to treating an entire civilization facing extinction. They would have to establish treatment protocols for millions of patients while working with local medical staff who were themselves dying. Captain Torres opened a channel from the Indomitable. Doctor, we're reading massive orbital traffic, evacuation ships, supply vessels, and what looks like several foreign military observation ships. The Galactic Council has deployed monitoring vessels to observe our medical intervention. We're being watched by representatives from at least 12 different species. The pressure was mounting. The human medical mission was no longer just about saving Kepler Colony. It had become a test of human capabilities observed by the entire galactic community. Success would prove humans could be trusted with advanced medicine and military power. Failure would confirm every negative stereotype about human unpredictability and dangerous overconfidence. Dr. Rodriguez made her decision. Captain Torres maintained standard escort posture. Research Director Dalesh, your observation team has full access to monitor our medical procedures. Dr. Vethare, we're deploying immediately to your primary medical center. Prepare your staff for intensive training on human medical protocols. The deployment began within hours. The Mercy's Dawn established orbit around Kepler Colony, while medical shuttles ferried personnel and supplies to the planet's surface. Dr. Rodriguez led the first team personally, bringing emergency medical supplies and the most experienced doctors. The planetary capital, once a beautiful city of crystal spires and floating gardens, had become a medical disaster zone. Makeshift hospitals filled every public space. Bodies of plague victims were stacked in organized piles awaiting disposal. Emergency services had collapsed under the overwhelming casualty rates. But what struck the human medical team most was the determination of the surviving Kepler medical staff. Despite being infected themselves, despite losing colleagues daily, despite facing certain extinction, they continued working to save as many lives as possible. They worked until they collapsed, then returned to work after brief rest periods. Dr. Harrison observed a Kepler doctor treating patients while showing advanced plague symptoms. Tremors severe enough to make precise movements difficult, obvious cognitive impairment from neurological damage, and physical weakness that required frequent rest breaks. Yet the doctor continued working, treating patient after patient with careful attention to their comfort and dignity. "They're dying while trying to save others," Dr. Harrison said quietly to Dr. Rodriguez. "They know they're losing this fight, but they won't stop fighting." The observation reminded Dr. Rodriguez why they were there. This wasn't about proving human medical superiority or demonstrating Earth's advanced technology. This was about saving people who refused to give up hope, even when hope seemed impossible. The first human treatments began with the Kepler medical staff. Dr. Rodriguez personally administered the antiviral compounds to Dr. Vethare, and knowing that success or failure with the local medical leaders would determine how the general population responded to human intervention. The human antiviral medications were designed to interfere with viral replication while boosting immune system response. Theoretical models suggested they should work on Kepler physiology, but theory wasn't certainty. If the medicines proved toxic or ineffective, Dr. Rodriguez might kill the very people she was trying to save. "The injection contains our most advanced antiviral compound," Dr. Rodriguez explained as she prepared the treatment. "You should begin feeling effects within 6 hours if the medicine works. Symptoms should start improving within 12 hours. If you experience increased symptoms or new complications, contact us immediately." Research Director Dalesh monitored the treatment process with scientific interest and growing concern. The humans were essentially conducting medical experiments on dying patients, with no way to predict outcomes and no time for proper testing. By Zephyrian standards, it was incredibly dangerous and ethically questionable. But by practical standards, it was the only hope available. 6 hours passed with agonizing slowness. Dr. Vethare remained in the human medical observation area, monitored continuously for any adverse reactions. Her vital signs remained stable, but the plague's symptoms showed no immediate improvement. If anything, she appeared to be getting worse. Dr. Rodriguez maintained calm professionalism, but privately, she was terrified. If the first treatment failed, if Dr. Vethare died from human medicine instead of the plague, the entire mission would collapse. The Kepler population would reject human assistance. The galactic observers would report human medical intervention as dangerous failure, and millions would die while Earth's reputation was destroyed. 8 hours. Dr. Vethare's tremors had not improved. Her cognitive function appeared unchanged. The discoloration around her eyes might have been slightly better, but it could have been wishful thinking. 10 hours. Still no clear improvement. 12 hours. Dr. Rodriguez checked Dr. Vethare's vital signs personally, looking for any indication that the treatment was working. Blood pressure remained stable. Heart rate was slightly improved. Neurological function tests showed improvement. Slight but measurable improvement. "Dr. Vethare," Dr. Rodriguez said carefully, "how are you feeling?" The Kepler doctor sat up slowly, testing her motor control. The tremors in her hands had decreased noticeably. Her voice was stronger when she spoke. Better. Not completely better, but definitely improved. The cognitive fog is lifting. My hands are steadier. I think your medicine is working. The relief that washed over the human medical team was enormous, but they couldn't celebrate yet. One successful treatment didn't guarantee success with millions of patients. The plague might have mutated differently in other victims. The dosage might need adjustment for different physiologies, or adverse reactions might appear with longer exposure. But it was hope. Real, measurable hope for the first time since the plague had begun. Dr. Vethra became the first Kepler plague victim to show improvement in months. Over the next 24 hours, her condition continued to stabilize and improve. The tremors disappeared almost completely. The cognitive symptoms faded. The discoloration around her eyes returned to normal. Most importantly, blood tests showed the virus was no longer replicating in her system. Research Director Dalesh documented every aspect of the treatment and recovery. His reports to Zephyrian High Command described human medical capabilities as far more advanced than previous intelligence had indicated. The humans weren't just treating symptoms. They were actually curing a plague that had defeated the combined medical knowledge of the Galactic Council. Dr. Rodriguez, he said during one of their regular briefings, I must ask a direct question. Did humanity develop these medical treatments specifically for the Kepler plague, or do you routinely carry medicines capable of treating unknown diseases? The question revealed the scope of galactic shock at human medical capabilities. Dr. Rodriguez realized that most species in the galaxy face diseases by developing specific treatments for specific pathogens. The concept of broad-spectrum medicines that could fight entire categories of diseases was apparently unknown to galactic medicine. Research Director, these are standard broad-spectrum antivirals that we use to treat multiple viral diseases on Earth. We carry them because human medical philosophy emphasizes having treatments that work against unknown threats. We prefer medicines that can fight diseases we haven't encountered yet, rather than medicines that work only against diseases we've already studied. The explanation revealed fundamental differences between human and galactic approaches to medicine. Galactic medical research focused on understanding specific diseases completely before developing targeted treatments. Human medical research focused on creating weapons that could fight unknown enemies. One approach emphasized perfect knowledge and precise solutions. The other emphasized practical effectiveness and adaptable tools. In this situation, the human approach was saving lives while the galactic approach had failed completely. With Dr. Vethra's recovery proving the treatment's effectiveness, the human medical team began mass treatment implementation. They trained Kepler medical staff on proper dosage, administration procedures, and monitoring for adverse reactions. They established distribution centers in every major population area. They organized treatment schedules that could handle millions of patients with the limited medical supplies available. The logistics were staggering. 8 million people needed treatment, but the human medical ship carried only enough medicine for 5 million cases. They would have to prioritize the most severe cases, treat the most critical patients first, and hope that preventing deaths would give them time to manufacture additional supplies. Dr. Rodriguez divided the medical team into deployment groups, each responsible for treating specific population centers. Dr. Harrison led the team treating the capital city, where population density made the plague spread fastest, but where medical infrastructure remained most functional. Other teams spread across the planet to rural areas where medical facilities were limited, but where the plague had spread more slowly. The scale of the operation required coordination between human medical teams, Kepler medical authorities, local government agencies, and the various galactic observers monitoring the mission. Each group had different priorities, different protocols, and different expectations for how the medical intervention should proceed. But gradually, reports of successful treatments began reaching the Central Coordination Center. Patients showing improvement, plague symptoms reversing, people recovering who had been written off as certain casualties. The human medicines were working across the general population, not just for medical personnel. The first major breakthrough came after 48 hours of mass treatment. The infection rate began declining for the first time since the plague had started. New cases were still appearing, but fewer than before. The virus was losing its ability to spread as more people developed immunity through treatment. Captain Torres monitored the Galactic Observer ships from the Indomitable S Command Center. Representatives from 12 different species were watching human medical capabilities demonstrate results that their own medical establishments had declared impossible. The political implications were enormous. "Commander Park," he said to his tactical officer, "what are you reading from the observer ships?" "Massive data transmission activity, sir. They're sending detailed reports to their home governments in real time. The Zephyrian observers are communicating with their high command almost continuously. Several ships have requested permission to send additional observer teams to monitor the medical intervention more closely." The galaxy was watching humanity prove its value as a galactic citizen. But the mission wasn't finished yet. Millions of people still needed treatment. The plague could still mutate into resistance against human medicines, and political complications could still derail the entire operation. Dr. Rodriguez knew they were in a race against time, against biological evolution, and against galactic politics. Success was possible, but far from certain. 5 days into the mass treatment operation, the first complications arose. Not from human medicines, which continued proving remarkably effective, but from unexpected political interference. The hegemony of Keth, a militaristic alliance that controlled shipping routes near Kepler's system, demanded immediate cessation of human medical activities. Captain Torres received the hegemony ultimatum while monitoring orbital traffic around Kepler Colony. 3 hegemony warships had arrived without warning, taking aggressive positions that could blockade the planet if they chose to escalate their demands. Human vessels came a transmission from the lead hegemony ship. "This is Battle Commander Torketh of the Keth Hegemony Fleet. You are conducting unauthorized biological warfare research using alien populations as test subjects. Cease all medical activities immediately and prepare for inspection and detention." The accusation stunned everyone who heard it. Biological warfare research. The hegemony was claiming that humanity's medical mission was actually a cover for developing biological weapons, using the plague-stricken Kepler population as unwilling test subjects for human military medical experiments. Dr. Rodriguez was in the planet's capital city when she received word of the hegemony challenge. She was personally overseeing treatment of critical patients in the primary medical center, watching Kepler plague victims recover from diseases that had been killing them days earlier. The accusation of biological warfare seemed obscene when she was surrounded by lives being saved. "Captain Torres," she called over the communication link, "what are our options? Can we continue medical operations under hegemony threat?" "Doctor, they're in position to blockade the planet. If they prevent supply runs or reinforcement missions, we might not be able to complete treatment of the entire population. We're already operating with minimal medical supplies." Research Director Dalesh monitored the situation with growing alarm. The Zephyrian observation team had been documenting human medical activities continuously, proving that the mission was genuinely humanitarian. But the hegemony was known for making accusations first and investigating later, especially when those accusations could justify military action. "Dr. Rodriguez," he said privately, "the hegemony has a history of viewing medical advancement as potential military threat. They believe any species capable of curing diseases is also capable of creating biological weapons. Their challenge may be based on fear of human medical capabilities rather than evidence of wrongdoing." The situation was deteriorating rapidly. The hegemony warships were demanding access to all human medical data, including treatment protocols, medicine formulations, and patient records. They wanted to inspect human medical facilities, interrogate medical personnel, and confiscate samples of all medicines being used to treat the plague. Compliance would require shutting down medical operations while the hegemony conducted investigations that could take weeks. Non-compliance would risk armed conflict that could destroy the entire medical mission and possibly trigger war between Earth and the hegemony. Admiral Chun, monitoring the situation from Earth, opened an emergency communication with Captain Torres. Captain, what's your assessment of hegemony military capabilities versus the Indomitable? Admiral, 3 hegemony heavy cruisers versus 1 Earth battleship. Normally, I'd favor our odds, but we're in orbit around a populated planet. Any major battle would cause massive civilian casualties. The plague victims we're trying to save would die from collateral damage. The tactical situation was impossible. The Indomitable might win a battle against hegemony ships, but the battle itself would doom the people they had come to save. Fighting to protect the medical mission would destroy the medical mission. Dr. Rodriguez made the decision that would define humanity's galactic reputation. Captain Torres, Admiral Chun, I'm going to speak with the hegemony commander directly. If they want to inspect our medical operations, they can do so while we continue treating patients. We have nothing to hide. Doctor, Admiral Chun responded immediately. That's incredibly dangerous. The hegemony has a history of detaining prisoners for political purposes. If they take you hostage, we'll have no leverage for negotiations. Admiral, we have 57 human medical personnel on this planet treating millions of plague victims. Every hour we delay treatment means additional deaths. I won't allow political complications to stop us from saving lives. The communication with Battle Commander Torketh was tense from the first moment. The hegemony officer appeared on screen in full military uniform, his reptilian features showing none of the desperation Dr. Rodriguez had seen in plague victims or the curiosity she had observed in Zephyrian observers. Commander Torketh, Dr. Rodriguez began, I am Dr. Elena Rodriguez, commander of Earth's medical mission to Kepler Colony. I understand you have concerns about our medical activities. I invite you to inspect our operations personally and verify that we are providing humanitarian medical assistance only. Dr. Rodriguez, Commander Torketh replied coldly. The hegemony has intelligence reports suggesting human medical advancement represents biological warfare capability. Your species has developed medicines that can cure diseases unknown to galactic medical science. Such capability could easily be adapted to create biological weapons. The accusation revealed the twisted logic that was driving hegemony opposition. They weren't objecting to human medical activities because those activities were harmful. They were objecting because human medical capabilities were too advanced, too effective, too potentially dangerous if used for military purposes. Commander, would you prefer that we allowed the Kepler population to die from this plague? Our medical intervention has saved thousands of lives already. How does saving lives constitute a military threat? Any species capable of curing unknown diseases is also capable of creating unknown diseases. The hegemony cannot allow such dangerous capabilities to be developed without proper oversight and control. Research Director Dalesh requested permission to join the communication. As a Zephyrian observer with scientific credentials, he might be able to provide independent verification of human activities that the hegemony would trust. Commander Torketh, I am Research Director Dalesh of the Zephyrian Scientific Council. I have been monitoring human medical activities continuously since they began treatment operations. I can confirm that they are conducting genuine medical treatment only. There is no evidence of biological warfare research or weapons development. Research Director, Commander Torketh responded, Zephyr analysis may be compromised by your species' historically friendly relations with the Galactic Council. The hegemony requires independent verification of human activities. The political complexity was becoming clearer. The hegemony viewed the Galactic Council, including the Zephyrians, as political rivals. They weren't just challenging human medical activities. They were challenging Council authority to authorize humanitarian missions without hegemony approval. Dr. Rodriguez realized that the medical mission had become entangled in broader galactic politics. The hegemony was using concerns about biological warfare as justification for asserting their own authority over humanitarian operations in their territorial sphere. Commander Torketh, she said finally, what would satisfy hegemony requirements for verification? What do you need to see to confirm that our mission is genuinely humanitarian? Full access to all human medical data, including treatment formulations and biological research records. Complete inspection of all human medical facilities and personnel. Hegemony oversight of all medical activities until treatment operations are concluded. The demands are designed to be impossible. Full access to medical data would require revealing Earth's most advanced medical technology to a potentially hostile military alliance. Hegemony oversight would slow treatment operations to a crawl, guaranteeing massive additional casualties from delayed medical care. But Dr. Rodriguez surprised everyone by accepting. Agreed. Commander Torketh, you and your inspection teams have complete access to our medical operations. You can monitor everything we do, examine everything we carry, and verify that our activities are exactly what we claim. In return, we continue treating plague victims without delay. The acceptance shocked both the Hegemony commander and the human crews. Dr. Rodriguez was essentially gambling Earth's medical security on the assumption that humanitarian results would overcome political suspicions. Captain Torres opened a private channel. Doctor, are you certain about this? Revealing our medical technology to the Hegemony could compromise Earth's strategic advantages. Captain, our strategic advantage isn't in keeping our medicine secret. Our strategic advantage is in having medicine that works. Let them examine everything we do. Let them learn how we treat diseases. If they become better at saving lives, the galaxy becomes a safer place. The philosophy behind Dr. Rodriguez's decision represented fundamental human values about knowledge sharing and medical ethics. Human medical tradition emphasized saving lives above protecting commercial or military interests. If sharing medical knowledge helped other species save their own people, the sharing was worth any strategic cost. The Hegemony inspection teams arrived within hours. Unlike the careful, scientific Zephyrian observers, the Hegemony inspectors approached human medical operations with suspicion and hostility. They expected to find evidence of biological weapons research disguised as humanitarian assistance. Instead, they found human medical personnel working 18-hour shifts to treat as many plague victims as possible. They found medical supplies being distributed to anyone who needed treatment, regardless of ability to pay or political status. They found human doctors training Kepler medical staff on treatment protocols that could save lives after the human mission departed. Dr. Harrison led one inspection team through the capital city medical center, explaining treatment procedures while continuing to treat patients. The Hegemony inspectors watched human doctors cure plague victims who had been dying hours earlier, using medicines that were freely shared with local medical authorities. Dr. Harrison asked the lead Hegemony inspector these antiviral compounds could be modified to create biological weapons. Why do humans share such dangerous technology with alien species? Because, Dr. Harrison replied while administering treatment to a child plague victim, medicine works better when everyone has access to it. Diseases don't respect political boundaries. A plague that starts on Kepler colony could spread to any world in the galaxy. Protecting everyone protects humanity. The answer revealed human strategic thinking that confused many galactic species. Humans viewed medical advancement as a shared benefit rather than a competitive advantage. They were willing to help potential enemies become healthier because healthy enemies were more predictable and less desperate than sick enemies. After 3 days of intensive inspection, the Hegemony investigation teams reached conclusions that surprised their own command structure. The humans weren't conducting biological warfare research. They weren't developing weapons. They weren't pursuing any military objectives at all. They were genuinely trying to save lives, using advanced medicine developed through centuries of fighting diseases on Earth. Their medical capabilities were the product of necessity and survival, not military research. Most importantly, they were sharing their medical advances freely with anyone who needed them. Commander Torketh found himself in an impossible position. The inspection had proven that human activities were genuinely humanitarian, but Acknowledging that fact would require the hegemony to withdraw their challenge and admit they had been wrong about human intentions. Dr. Rodriguez, he said during their final communication, hegemony inspection teams have completed their investigation. We find no evidence of biological warfare research or weapons development in your medical activities. Thank you, Commander. Does this mean we can continue our medical mission without further interference? The pause before his answer revealed the political difficulty of the situation. The hegemony withdraws its objection to your current medical activities. However, we will continue monitoring human medical capabilities for potential future threats. It was as close to an apology as the hegemony was likely to provide. Dr. Rodriguez accepted it gracefully, knowing that pushing for more acknowledgement might restart the political complications. With hegemony opposition resolved, the medical mission could focus entirely on treating the remaining plague victims. 7 days of mass treatment had reduced active infections by 60%. New cases were appearing at rates low enough that the existing medical infrastructure could handle them. Most importantly, the plague virus was showing signs of evolutionary pressure. It was adapting to become less deadly as infected hosts developed immunity through treatment. Dr. Vethare, now fully recovered and serving as liaison between human and Kepler medical teams, provided daily reports on treatment progress. Dr. Rodriguez, we estimate that 90% of infected individuals are now receiving treatment. Mortality rates have dropped to less than 5%, compared to nearly 60% before your arrival. The plague is being defeated, but the final challenge was still ahead. The human medical supplies were nearly exhausted, and hundreds of thousands of people still needed treatment. The mission had succeeded in stopping the plague spread, but completing treatment of all victims would require additional supplies that were still days away from arriving. The final phase of the mission began with a crisis that threatened everything they had accomplished. Earth's second medical supply ship, carrying enough antiviral compounds to complete treatment of the remaining plague victims, reported engine failure while still 3 days away from Kepler's system. Without those additional supplies, hundreds of thousands of people who had received initial treatment might relapse and die. Dr. Rodriguez stood in the emergency coordination center that had been established in Kepler's capital city, surrounded by human medical officers, Kepler health authorities, Zephyrian observers, and now representatives from 6 additional galactic species who had arrived to witness the conclusion of humanity's medical intervention. Dr. Vethare, she said to her Kepler counterpart, how long can we maintain current treatment effectiveness with existing supplies? Dr. Vethare consulted the medical databases that now contain detailed records of every treated patient on the planet. With careful rationing, perhaps 48 hours of continued treatment for critical cases. After that, we must choose which patients receive medicine and which we allow to relapse. The choice was unthinkable. After proving that human medicine could cure the plague, after demonstrating to the galaxy that Earth's medical capabilities could save entire civilizations, they might have to watch recovered patients die, simply because the supply ship had mechanical problems. Research Director Dalesh had been monitoring the situation with growing admiration for human medical capabilities and growing frustration with galactic politics. The hegemony challenge had delayed treatment operations by 3 critical days. Without that interference, the medical mission would have had sufficient supplies to complete treatment before the supply shortage became critical. Dr. Rodriguez, he said during a private moment, Zephyrian medical facilities in nearby systems carry antiviral compounds that might be compatible with your treatment protocols. With modification, they could extend your supply reserves. The suggestion offered hope, but also revealed the complexity of galactic medical cooperation. Zephyrian medicines were designed for Zephyrian physiology and diseases. Adapting them for use with human treatment protocols would require rapid research, compatibility testing, and dosage calculations, all while treating active patients who couldn't wait for extended testing periods. Dr. Harrison immediately volunteered to lead the medical adaptation research. Doctor, if we can modify Zephyrian antivirals to work with our treatment system, we might be able to extend supplies long enough for the Earth shipment to arrive. It's risky, mixing pharmaceutical systems from different species, but it might be our only option. The research began immediately, using computer modeling and biochemical analysis to determine whether Zephyrian medicines could safely supplement human treatments. The work was complicated by fundamental differences between human and Zephyrian approaches to antiviral therapy, but the basic biological mechanisms were similar enough that combination therapy might be possible. Meanwhile, Captain Torres received an unexpected communication from an unlikely source. Captain Moron, the Zephyrian inspection officer who had initially challenged the human medical mission, requested permission to speak with Dr. Rodriguez directly. Dr. Rodriguez, Captain Moron said when the communication was established, I have been authorized by Zephyrian Command to offer direct assistance with your medical supply situation. We can provide immediate transport of additional medical supplies from Zephyrian stockpiles, along with our own medical personnel to assist with treatment operations. The offer was unprecedented. The Zephyrians were proposing to join the human medical mission as active partners, providing their own medicines and medical expertise to help complete treatment of Kepler colony. It represented a fundamental shift in how the Zephyrian Empire viewed humanity. Captain Moron, that's an extraordinarily generous offer. What prompted Zephyrian Command to authorize such extensive assistance? Doctor, our observation teams have reported that human medical capabilities exceed anything in current galactic knowledge. Your treatment methods, your diagnostic techniques, your approach to patient care, everything represents advancement beyond what any council species has achieved. Zephyrian Command believes that learning from human medical methods could benefit our own people. The answer revealed the broader implications of the Kepler mission. Humanity's medical intervention wasn't just saving one planet. It was demonstrating capabilities that could advance medical care throughout the galaxy. Species that learned from human methods might be able to save their own people more effectively in future medical emergencies. Dr. Rodriguez accepted the Zephyrian offer immediately. Within hours, Zephyrian medical ships arrived, carrying additional antiviral supplies, diagnostic equipment, and medical personnel trained in interspecies cooperation. For the first time in galactic history, human and alien medical teams began working together as equal partners. The collaboration produced immediate results. Zephyrian medicines, modified according to Dr. Harrison's research, proved compatible with human treatment protocols. The combined supply reserves were sufficient to complete treatment of all remaining plague victims with medicine to spare for future emergencies. But the collaboration also produced something more important than medical supplies. Working side by side, human and Zephyrian medical personnel shared techniques, knowledge, and approaches that improved both species' medical capabilities. Zephyrian doctors learned human diagnostic methods that could identify diseases earlier and more accurately. Human doctors learned Zephyrian treatment techniques that minimized patient discomfort and improved recovery outcomes. Dr. Vethare observed the human-Zephyrian medical collaboration with amazement. The two species worked together so effectively that it seemed natural, despite fundamental differences in physiology, medical training, and cultural approaches to patient care. Dr. Rodriguez, she said during one of their coordination meetings, your species and the Zephyrians appear to have developed instant medical cooperation. How is such effective collaboration possible between species that have never worked together before? Dr. Vethare, medicine is universal. Disease, pain, healing, these experiences are shared by all living beings. When doctors focus on treating patients rather than protecting professional territory, cooperation becomes natural. The philosophy behind successful medical collaboration was spreading beyond the Kepler medical mission. Representatives from other galactic species were observing human-Zephyrian cooperation and requesting information about establishing similar medical partnerships with Earth. The medical mission was evolving into a foundation for galactic medical cooperation. 10 days after the human medical mission had begun, the last plague patient on Kepler colony received treatment. The disease that had threatened to exterminate an entire civilization had been defeated through human medicine, Zephyrian cooperation, and the determination of Kepler medical authorities who had refused to give up hope. The final statistics were staggering. 8 million people had been infected with a plague that killed 60% of victims before human intervention. After treatment, the mortality rate had dropped to less than 3%. 7,700,000 people were alive who would have died without Earth's medical mission. But the numbers only told part of the story. The medical mission had also established the first successful interspecies medical cooperation in galactic history, demonstrated human capabilities that exceeded galactic expectations, and proven that Earth could be trusted with advanced technology in humanitarian applications. Research Director Dalesh prepared his final report to Zephyrian High Command with conclusions that would reshape galactic policy toward humanity. Human medical capabilities represent the most significant advancement in galactic healthcare in recorded history. Their treatment methods, diagnostic techniques, and approach to medical research suggest that partnership with Earth could advance medical care for all Council species. Recommend immediate establishment of formal medical cooperation agreements and shared research initiatives. The recommendations were unprecedented. The Zephyrian Empire was proposing to treat humanity as an equal partner in medical advancement, rather than a dangerous species requiring careful monitoring. They were suggesting that other Council species should learn from human methods, rather than fearing human capabilities. Captain Torres received similar reports from the other galactic observers. Representatives from 12 different species were recommending closer cooperation with Earth, not because humanity had proven itself harmless, but because humanity had proven itself valuable. The medical mission had demonstrated that human capabilities could benefit the entire galaxy. The political implications extended far beyond medical cooperation. Species that had viewed humans as dangerous unpredictables were beginning to see Earth as a potential ally with unique capabilities. The Galactic Council was discussing formal recognition of human medical authority and possible partnership agreements that would allow Earth to assist with future medical emergencies. As the human medical teams prepared to depart Kepler Colony, Dr. Rodriguez reflected on what they had accomplished. They had saved a civilization from extinction, but they had also changed humanity's relationship with the galactic community. Earth was no longer the dangerous newcomer that other species feared. It was the medical expert that other species wanted to learn from. Dr. VethRA organized a planetary ceremony to honor the human medical mission. Millions of plague survivors gathered in the capital city to express gratitude for the humans who had saved their lives. The ceremony was broadcast throughout the galaxy, showing other species how Kepler Colony viewed humanity. Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. VethRA, said during the formal ceremony, "The people of Kepler Colony owe their existence to Earth's medical mission. But beyond saving our lives, you have shown us what medical cooperation between species can accomplish. You have given us hope that future medical crises can be defeated through shared knowledge and combined effort." The ceremony concluded with the establishment of the Kepler Earth Medical Research Institute, a permanent facility dedicated to advancing interspecies medical cooperation. Earth would provide medical expertise and research capabilities, while Kepler Colony would serve as a testing ground for new treatments and a training center for galactic medical personnel. Captain Torres received final departure authorization from Galactic Council authorities, but the authorization came with an unprecedented addition. Earth was being granted permanent medical assistance authority throughout Council space, with a right to respond to medical emergencies without requiring advance permission from territorial governments. The authority was remarkable. Humanity had gained a right to provide medical assistance anywhere in the galaxy, backed by Council authority and protected from political interference. It was recognition of Earth's medical capabilities and trust in human humanitarian intentions. As the Mercies Dawn and Indomitable departed Kepler system, they were escorted by Zephyrian medical vessels carrying the first joint human-alien medical research teams. The escort wasn't for protection. It was a symbol of partnership and cooperation that would reshape galactic medicine. Admiral Chun monitored the departure from Earth's Central Defense Station, reading reports that described humanity's transformed galactic status. The medical mission had accomplished everything Earth had hoped, and more. Humanity was no longer viewed as a dangerous species requiring careful monitoring. It was valued as a medical partner whose capabilities could save lives throughout the galaxy. Dr. Rodriguez, Admiral Chin said during the final mission communication, "Earth owes you and your team a debt that can never be repaid. You've not only saved 8 million lives on Kepler Colony, you've changed how the galaxy views humanity itself." Dr. Rodriguez looked at her exhausted medical team, knowing that they had accomplished something historic. "Admiral, we did what human doctors always do. We treated patients who needed help. The fact that those patients happened to be an entire alien civilization just made the job bigger." The understated response was perfectly human. Earth's most significant diplomatic achievement in galactic history was described by its leader as simply doing the job larger. No dramatic claims, no inflated rhetoric, just professional medical personnel treating patients who needed care. As news of the mission's success reached Earth, humanity began preparing for its new role as the galaxy's medical experts. Medical schools expanded their xenobiology programs. Research institutes began developing treatments for diseases that might affect alien species. Earth's medical industry prepared to supply medicines for emergencies that could occur anywhere in the galaxy. The Kepler medical mission had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its military power or technological advancement. It was the simple determination to help others survive, regardless of species, politics, or personal cost. That determination had saved a civilization and earned humanity a place as a valued member of the galactic community. In medical facilities throughout the galaxy, doctors began studying human treatment methods. In government chambers, political leaders discussed partnership agreements with Earth. In research laboratories, scientists worked to understand how human medical capabilities could benefit their own species. The galaxy was learning that humans were dangerous, not because they were aggressive or unpredictable, but because they were effective. When humanity decided to save lives, entire civilizations survived. When humanity offered medical assistance, plagues that had defeated galactic science were cured in days. The most powerful force in the galaxy wasn't military might or political influence. It was the human commitment to healing, backed by centuries of medical advancement earned through survival and determination. Earth had found its place in the galactic community not as conquerors or traitors, but as healers whose medicine could save worlds.